Today I'm going to show you how to make a project status report using Microsoft PowerPoint. Hi, I'm Stuart Taylor from Influential PMO, and I'm here to support the project community. Every week I make new videos about project management, and if that's something you want to learn more about, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Today's video is about making a project status report template. This is the second video in a series where the first part was about the components that will go into the template. This is about making the template, and the next video will be about how to populate it and how to write the status reports. We'll get into the details shortly about how to actually make the template, and there are timestamps in the description so you can skip straight ahead if you choose to. But firstly, I want to explain why I'm using Microsoft PowerPoint. There are a variety of different tools that are available. I could have used Word or Excel. On this occasion, I've chosen to use PowerPoint, and here are my reasons. PowerPoint is accessible. It comes with Office 365 and the various other Microsoft Office tools, so pretty much everybody's got access to it. It used to be that people would print their reports and that would make Microsoft Word or Excel more advantageous, but these days we tend to refer to the screen an awful lot more. And PowerPoint by default comes in that landscape format, so we can make maximum use of the screen. This means out of the tools available, this will look best on monitors, tablets and phones. The other reason is it encourages brevity. You can't continue to expand the page as you can with Excel or continue to have endless pages with Word. You are limited to the amount of space available, and that encourages you to get to the point quickly. It's a subtle reminder to keep thinking about the reader and keep their priorities in mind. Okay, that's the justifications out the way for using PowerPoint. Let's get into it. Don't forget, this is a work-along session, so open up PowerPoint and join in. Here we have the output from the last video. These are the components of a standard project status report template. It's a good idea to list the components before you get started because you will inevitably forget something once you're in the thick of it. Because I've got this list available in Excel, I can just copy and paste where appropriate. So that's going to speed things up for me. If you don't have time to build your own list, by all means feel free to use mine. If you have a look in the description to this video, you'll see a link to the blog, and that's where you can download this from. So we're starting off with an empty document. I'm just going to add a new slide and select layout, blank. Start it simple. Note I've already saved a version of this called Project Status Report Template. Make sure to keep saving your work as you go. So the first part I'm going to copy from Excel is this section here that starts at the beginning, which is the project name, the date and the author. Just copying these in here for visibility. I'm actually going to make them look a lot better than this. So I'm going to add some text here. So I'm going to go to Insert, Text Box, drag that down to there. And we're going to put the section here for the project name. And I'm going to put a reminder here that if you have one, insert your project code or ID and project name here. The next thing we'll want is the project manager on the project, and that's usually the author of the report. Even at this early stage, it's a good idea to keep company branding in mind. So I've got a copy of my logo here, and I'm just going to pop that up there in the corner. This is really useful because this will help to define some of the colors and branding colors that will appear later on in the report. It's a good idea right now to think about actually identifying who this report is for and making it fit in with the other documents in your company. Now I'm going to put another text box in here, and this will have the date. And because we're in UK, I'm going to go with a DDMMYYYY format. In other parts of the world, you might choose a different format. Now that's done, I can get rid of this reminder and I can go back to the original templates list and see what's next. So these are done. So the next part we're going to look at is the summary, the health status, and the component rags. So again, I'll copy those items and paste them into here so they can act as a reminder. The way I tend to present information in these reports is by using tables. So that's what we're going to do here as well. If you saw the previous video, you'll know I have objections to using a risk rag score. So I'm going to get rid of that, which leaves us with one large text area and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rag scores. So we'll go to Insert, Table, and I'm going to select 3 rows and 7 columns. I'm going to drag that down to here. Stretch that across to there. I'm going to shrink the branding a little bit. Now I'm going to select the table, go to Table Design, get rid of the header row up here in the corner. Okay, that's fine. Now I'm going to highlight all of these cells here on this row except for the one on the top left. Right click and merge. We now have a large text area we can use. And this will be for the project status update. Now I'm going to put the project and component rag scores in. Plan, costs, scope, benefits, quality, resources. Oop. Resources. And under here, I'm going to put square brackets and a reminder to have red, amber, or green scores. I'm going to copy and paste that into all of the other cells. I'll get rid of that space that was created. Okay, it's looking good, it's progressing. It's a bit big and ugly at the moment, but don't worry, it will improve. Normally I wouldn't worry about finessing these reports until I'm a little bit further along, but I know I might have critical eyes on me at the moment. I'm just going to highlight the whole table. Go to Home, change the font size down to, let's call it 10, and bold. I'll switch the font type to Arial. And I'm going to apply that change as well to Arial up here, in the title and in the date. I'll stretch this across a little bit more. Okay. And I'm going to highlight these cells here, right click, go to the Shape Fill tool, select the Eyedropper, and we're going to copy the branding color from up here. And now if I highlight the rest of these title cells here and right click, it's already defaulting to that color. So I don't need to do the eyedropper again. I'm going to make these centered and I'm going to tighten that up a little bit. And I'm going to drag this one up as well. As for this one, I'm going to drag this one down a little bit so we've got a little bit more space to write in. And ideally we want 1, 2, 3 lines really. That's more than enough for us to be able to communicate effectively how well the project is going and any challenges that are being experienced. Hey, if you're getting value from this video, don't forget to hit the like button. Okay, looking at the template components list again, I think these 2 items are amongst the most important to go on here. So these really need to be in there somewhere. So I'll do those next. The deliverables from the previous reporting period and deliverables due in the next reporting period. I'm also going to include return to green actions. That's very important if there's anything happening in the project that's causing a non-green status. Again, I'm going to use a table for this, so I'll go to Insert, Table, 2 columns, and I'll create 4 rows. I'm just going to put it here for now. I might move it a bit later. Okay, I'm just tweaking that so it's about even. Okay. Again, I'm going to select the table and go to the header row here and untick that so it looks like everything else. And I'll highlight that section there. And I'll select the shape fill color that we've already got here from the logo. Okay, looking good. The first section will be deliverables from the previous reporting period. And the next one will be deliverables due in the next reporting period. So I made everything else size 10 and Arial, so I'll do the same here as well. And I'll make these bold as well. We don't actually need too much space in these sections. It really is just a list of a deliverable name and in this side a target date. What I'm going to do in this cell is put return to green actions. Highlight that, bold, right click into the cell, make it that color, same as the branding. And now I'm going to highlight everything in the cells underneath the deliverables during the next period, right click and merge them. And we've got a good space here to write about what's coming up, and we've got a good space here to write about what's happened in the previous period. And hopefully there won't be too many things we need to write about here in the return to green actions, but it's always expandable if needed. In this section here, I'm going to put a reminder to put the deliverable name and the target date. And I'll highlight that, copy, and there we go. That's a sufficient reminder to everybody what they're supposed to put into that section. And over here, we just want the deliverable names. We don't need the target dates. It's been in the last reporting period, so we'll know roughly when it took place. And usually all anyone really cares about when they look at these reports is that it was done. And we're going to apply exactly the same item here to the return to green actions, but I'm going to put an addition of component. So when we actually report on the return to green actions, there'll be deliverables that should be turning one of these components from a red or amber state back to green. Now that's done, we can get rid of this reminder and move on to the next section. The next section I wanted to include was to call out any key risks and issues in the project. So I'm copying this section across. And pasting it in here as a reminder. Whilst there are only 5 items, not including the title of the group, to go into the report, I think there is another one as well, which is to identify whether we are reporting on a risk or an issue. So I'm going to add that. Again, we go to Insert, Table, and we select 6 columns this time, and let's say 4 rows. Copy that down to here. Stretch it across, and you'll see the line there. It's connecting with the table at the top to show that these are aligned. When you're doing this, look out for cues like that. It will save you a lot of time. Again, we go back to the table and up to the header row and get rid of that. And we highlight the row at the top, select our color, and now we just start adding column names. So risk issue, risk issue ID. You may have so many that you need to number them, you see. Risk issue name, description, mitigation, resolution plan, and target closure date. Looking at it now, I can see that I've actually forgotten something that's very important. So I'm going to add another column here. So I'll highlight the last column, right click, go to insert columns to the left. And I'm going to put the owner on here. We need to know who owns this risk and issue. So that's really important to go in there. So again, we click on the table, go to home, select Arial font, size 10. Highlight the row and click bold. We can shrink this column here. I've added a space so that can roll underneath. Can add a space here as well because all we have in this section is a number. Not so much space for the owner or the closure date. Okay, and I'll just make sure that connects on nicely at the bottom there. Okay, now I can get rid of the reminders. We have our key information in here now. That's all good. But let's go back to the template components and see if there's anything else we should add. Okay, here are the remaining items. So I'm just going to copy them across and paste them into the document. I'm going to create a new table now with enough space for all of the 11 items on here. I don't know if we'll use all 11, but we'll see. So again, and you should be an expert at this now, we go to insert, table, and this time we're going to put 4 columns in, and we'll go to, let's say 7 down. It's more than we need, but it's sometimes easier to do it this way, and then we can just delete what we don't need. Again, we get rid of the header row, and this time we're not going to just put the coloring on here. We're actually going to put the coloring on the first column and the third. And highlight the table again, change the font to Arial, size 10. Okay, so I'm just going to move this out of the way a little bit. And this is really where it gets into fine tuning. So I'm just dragging this across at the moment. We'll see where the previous table ends. I think it ends here at benefits. Yeah. And this table ends here on the end, and you can see the line just linked them up again. First part of interest is the sponsor. That's where their name will go. And then who the business unit is that this project is delivering for. So let's take that off there and that off there. It's a good idea to keep all of your financial data together so it's easy to assess next to each other. So I'm going to put these all in the left side. Okay, I'm going to be honest here.
not too many people are interested in the project closure date. They prefer to know when the go live date is. So I'm going to get rid of the closure date for this report, and I'm going to focus instead on putting the benefits in here, the expected go live date, current stage, and the stage end date. So I'll get rid of that reminder, and I can actually get rid of a couple of these excess rows now. So I'll highlight them, right click, select delete, and delete rows. Oh wow, it almost fits perfectly. So I'm just highlighting the titles here and giving them a bold font. Okay, so now just for a little bit of fine tuning. If we zoom in here, you can see that these aren't quite lined up. I don't know if anyone in the world is really going to mind that. But if you click onto the tables border and just press your arrow key across to the left, maybe once more, and now we click on this border and we drag it over to there. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Of course, now I've made it crooked at the other side, haven't I? Oh, look at that. Sackable offence. Drag that in, you can see it's lined up nicely. It's even conjured the other line. Didn't I say something about saving regularly as we go? You might have noticed whilst we were doing all this, I kept this title page here on the report. So I'm just going to drag that down to here so it's underneath, and I'm going to click on here to get rid of that. So click there and delete, and I'm going to go back to the components list, because you might recall I created a little bit of a description for each of these fields. So highlight it, copy it, and paste it using the keep source formatting. And there we've got a short guide that will help anybody who's using this report if they forget what they're supposed to be putting in each section. I'm just going to put some finishing touches to the report. For the risk section, I'm just going to put a reminder to include the strategy, and then we'll put a reminder to include some deliverables in there. After all, it is a plan. Now we're just going to go to the project status update section, and I'm right clicking and selecting shape fill, picking up the eyedropper, and I'm going to go for this lighter shade of grey on here so it's just a little bit easier to read. Overall, this is actually quite good. The contrast level is really good in each of the sections, even with the darker parts on here. Just putting a few more last minute touches on here. I want it to be perfect for you after all. Okay, there we have a completed project status report template. Okay, so there's a standard template. Feel free to change the colors to your company's branding and make it consistent with the rest of your company's documentation. I'm going to save this template on my blog site. I'll include the link in the description. I hope this has been helpful to you. Look out for that next video where I'll show you how to complete this report and how to write reports in a way that's really helpful to whoever's reading them. And I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.